to start your pop art print, you're going to need a photo reference or a drawing book reference. You will need your sketchbook with blank paper. Both sides need to be blank. And then you will need one foam sheet. Please be very careful and gentle with these as they are foam. So if you press it with your fingernails, those dents and marks will show up as part of the foam. So you want to make sure that you aren't damaging this for this first part today. As this first part, you're just getting the size. So you could do this in the corner of the of your sketchbook paper, away from the binding, that's fine, or you can do it in the middle. It doesn't really matter. You're just measuring the size. So I'm going to line it up in the corner just because. That way I know exactly how big it needs to be, and it'll be easy for me to line up my foam to the corner of my paper later. So now this is done. I'm going to go put this back in the box, and then I'm ready to do my drawing in my sketchbook. When doing my drawing from a photo reference, you want to make sure you can see your photo as you work. And then also think about the orientation of the image. So in my case, my little frog here is mostly side to side. I could do it vertically, but I think side to side will work best. So I'm going to move my sketchbook and draw in this space for my reference and for my little drawing here. So first thing I want to look at is probably this branch and decide where that's going to go. So I'm going to go, maybe that's about here. Okay, so if my branch is here, now I need to get the rest of the frog. So when we're thinking about animal shapes or anything that we're drawing the shapes, look for shapes first and then figure out how to change those shapes after. So starting here, we're going to have like an oval, and then another oval, and then inside that oval where the head is, I'm going to have the eyes, and they're quite large, and this one's going off that way, and I'm going to draw kind of the line of the mouth past where the eye is. So I'm looking at the reference and I'm comparing how long is this compared to how big is that. So I'm checking against myself in what I've drawn. And then I'm going to look at the edges, and I know it has to be about this big, so I kind of can figure out where things need to be in that space. I don't need to really worry about how sketchy or pretty this is, because this is my guides for me, so I know kind of where different colors might go or where different designs are, but I don't have to worry about it being super beautiful. I didn't do any erasing. Even if I made a mistake, I just drew on top with a darker line, and that's fine. This is a sketch. But now I'm ready to put it onto my foam. The process is the same if you are doing a drawn reference versus a photo reference, but you need a little bit less detail. So still start with looking for big shapes and then looking for the big drawn shapes and drawing those in. For a drawn reference, do not add any patterns when you're doing the sketch, just get the big shapes down. And I'm ready to get my pen tool, a pen, and I'm ready to get my foam. I am going to take my foam piece and I'm going to put it underneath my sketchbook paper. And with my ballpoint pen, or any kind of pen, now the foam is lined up underneath and it's lined up at the corner, so I know for sure it's going to fit on there. I'm going to go on top of all of my drawn lines with pencil, now with pen. And these are the official ones. So I want to make sure I'm not being sketchy. I'm being clear and purposeful with the lines that I do. And I'm not going to do all the lines. I'm only going to do the ones that I want to keep. I'm pressing firm, but I'm not like making a hard. If some places my ink doesn't come out of the pen, that's okay. I can check to see if they're there by holding the paper steady and checking underneath. If I see lines, I'm good. Okay, so before I take away my paper, because it's really hard to line it back up again, I'm just gonna double check one more time that my little frog here guy looks the way I want it to. And that looks pretty good. You can also just draw directly on the foam plate. You just want to make sure that you're not going to like cut all the way through it. So you don't need to see pen for this to print. However, I do want to add some decorative elements to this. So you can go in and add patterns or lines, make this really interesting in some of the spaces. It doesn't have to be everywhere. So I'm going to go in and actually double up all my lines with my pen just to make sure they're plenty wide and they will show up nicely. All right, so I really like the way that my little frog is going here. Remember, we are going to be printing on colored paper. So the more you have kind of marked away, the more color there will be in your first round. Everything that is white will be white. Everything that is marked will be a color for this first round of printing.